Hello, welcome to my masterclass. Now, today we're talking about Africans. We are racist against our own selves. That's our focus today. With all the Black Lives Matter, and I just want to discuss that with you. It's very important. You see, in Africa, we don't do enough research about our history, and when we don't do enough research about our history, we ought not to complain when others try to steal our history, appropriate our history. The things. I've been to Egypt. I was in Egypt, and a couple of you saw my pictures in Egypt. Now, if you see the things in Egypt, you notice it's the face of a black man. Now, do you think Arabs or white folks will make a statue of a black man? They won't. The pharaohs of Egypt were obviously black, and one of these black pharaohs is Terhaka. He's mentioned in scripture. Now, if you read 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 9, and Isaiah 37, 9, you'll see that. Now, I've seen these statues, they are in Egypt today. In fact, the name Egypt, is very deceptive. It's wrong. If you read scripture in English, you see the word Egypt, But I read scripture in the original languages, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. And there's nothing like Egypt in the Old Testament, The word used in the Old Testament is Mitzrayim, which means straight. Straight, that's Strait, or a narrow place. Now, the place called Egypt, when the Bible uses the word Egypt, it's actually referring to Mitzrayim, that was part of Nubia. And the word Nubian comes from the Nubu word, which means gold. Now, if you read Genesis chapter 2, verse 11, you will understand the significance of what I just said. Because Genesis chapter 2, verse 11 talks about the good gold of the land of Havilah, which is by the river Pishon, and Gihon. So now, when we understand our history, we know that it's now our history. We are able to make connections. And that's why I really encourage all black folk, try to read scripture in the original languages, maybe like Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. See, because, for instance, now, we're talking about rivers. Look at River Niger in West Africa. When I was a child, I went to school in Nigeria, and I was told that Manco Park discovered the River Niger. Now, Manco Park did not discover the River Niger. He did not. The River Niger was discovered by a black man, an anonymous black man. Because if you say Manco Park discovered the River Niger, I mean, what would you say about the people who were living there? What would you say about the people who were swimming there? What do you say about the people who were washing their clothes there? What would you say about the black man who took Manco Park there? I mean, just think about that. So Black Lives Matter must start from our own history. We must teach our own children, African children, that Manco Park did not discover the River Niger. We must teach them that John Speke did not discover the source of the Nile. So we must teach them, these things, because I mean, from a very young age, our children read that Richard Landa discovered River Benue. These are historical fallacies. They are historical fallacies, and it's messing with the heads of our children. You see, Africa's education system, when they teach these lies that Manco Park discovered River Niger, the truth is that they don't also teach that the largest earth structure, now listen to this, the largest earth structure ever constructed in history was in modern day Benin, in Nigeria. Our own educational system, African educational system, does not teach that. Now, you can Google it. I'm sure you as an adult, you don't know about that because they didn't teach it. The Great Benin Wall was not just the largest man-made earth structure ever built. It was actually 4 times longer than the Great Wall, the so-called Great Wall of China. Can you imagine? We in Africa, we know Great Wall of China. The Benin Wall was actually 4 times longer than the Great Wall of China. It was actually 100 times bigger than the biggest pyramids, the ones I've been to, the pyramids of at Giza. So we need to reorientate our children. For instance, when we say A for apple, let's change that. Let's say A for akara. Instead of B for ball, let's say B for boli. Instead of C for kip, let's say C for cedi, the Ghanaian currency. You see, we must Africanize Africa's Europeanized educational system. We must Africanize it. You see, Africa's educational system teaches Africans about the great seafaring nations of Europe. You know that, right? But did you know that the second oldest boat known to man, is the Dufuna canoe found in Nigeria? It's 8,000 years old. It was found in modern day Yobe State. 8,000 years old. Do you know 8,000 years ago, the people in Europe were barbarians. And our ancestors were building boats that could, that you could use on the seas. Now you think about that. Think about that. Today's Africans is very sad. We know so much, about the European Premier League. You ask our Africans about African youth about Africa, they don't know. They don't know zilch about it. You see, I've traveled virtually to every part of Africa, and sadly, what I discovered is that in almost all African towns, they have a brothel, they've got a football viewing center, and they've got a sports betting center, what they call pool. But very few of them have a library. Very, very few. So, if you commit a crime in Africa, sadly, if everyone is looking for you, you don't know where to hide, go and hide in the library. No one will ever find you there because no one ever visits there. Africans, we need to start reading. We need to start reading because you have to see, Black Lives Matter is only half the story. It's only half the story. Now, I want to highlight the deep-seated racism, the self-racism that we as Africans have. That self-racism against our own selves. Now, you see, for instance, now we abhor African masquerades and adore European masquerades, and we call it Santa Claus. Many African women bleach their skins and straighten their hair. And the sad thing is that our men prefer such women to natural African women, natural African black beauties. A typical African will drop his guard with a white person and then raise it with his fellow black African. Now you think about that. If an African wants to market to another black African, what they do is he will prefer to hire a white person to do the marketing. Now, our youths born and raised in Africa curiously develop a Western accent. I don't know, maybe they went to America in their dreams. You understand that? I went to America at the age of 9, but I maintain my Nigerian accent, thick Nigerian accent. I see Nigerians. I was watching something the other day, and I saw Cristiano Ronaldo, and then he was speaking, and then a bunch of Africans said, "Oh, his accent is so cute," because he was speaking with a thick Portuguese accent. Now, if a black African player, and I've seen this, starts to speak maybe in the EPL, starts to speak with his African accent, they say, "Oh, it sounds crass." Look at it. The BBC, they hire an African journalist because of his ability to speak African languages or English in an African accent. But African broadcast stations, and I've seen this time without number, I was a presidential spokesman, they will not hire an African who speaks in an African accent. They want you to speak in a polished accent, Western accent. Now, you think about that. We as Africans, we do not give our children African names, we give our children European names. So Black Lives Matter must start with us. It must start with us. If you don't start it, violence cannot do what our own culture can do. My name is Reno Omokri, and if you watch this, maybe you've not understood some of the things I said, you can send me an email, info@renoomokri.org. And I encourage you, subscribe to my YouTube page. That's Reno's Masterclass. You see it right there, Reno's Masterclass. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.